Through priests, Jesus continues to work in the world. He continues to save. He continues to prepare people to stand before God and please God to be with Him forever in heaven. Through priests, Jesus also continues to be present to the entire world. Think about the love that people experienced when they met Christ. Can you imagine what it would have been like for Jesus to look at you? It must have been the most incredible thing in the world. A priest who is like Jesus gives people that same experience. A priest who is the way he should be, following closely after Jesus, configured, in other words, shaped, made more like Jesus, brings the presence of Jesus into people's lives, into people's families. In the darkest times, the times of great difficulty when they need comfort, the presence of Jesus to call us to be the best people that we possibly can be, the presence of Jesus that forgives us our sins when we fall and who picks us up and encourages us to keep running, to keep growing, to keep becoming the people that we were made to be. What a gift. What a mission. If someone was interested in maybe becoming a priest or thought ever in the back of their mind, maybe God has this in store for me. There are a few different steps, really kind of practical things that you might do in order to pay attention to that little voice that's in your mind. The first thing I would say is not to dismiss that voice. Don't sort of run away from it, okay? You might run away from it for a few different reasons. Maybe you don't feel worthy. You don't feel like, oh, there's no way, there's no way I could be a priest. But let me tell you, look at the apostles. The apostles were not perfect men. The apostles were flawed in many ways. But Jesus called them, and He made them into exactly the sort of men that He needed them to be, and that we needed them to be. God can take anyone, and I'm certainly proof of that. I was never a person that anyone said was going to become a priest or should have been a priest. No one ever said that when I was younger. The first reason why you might run away or ignore that little voice is because you don't feel worthy. Well, I can tell you that that is not true. God is able to and needs to change all of us, and no one is born ready to be a priest. The second thing is the reason why we might kind of run away from it is because we're afraid of the sacrifice. We're afraid of what we have to give up. We want to do lots of other things, right? To those people, I would say, if God, first of all, is calling you to be a priest, there is nothing more rich or that will fill your life or give you the sort of joy. If that is what God is calling you to do, everything else would pale in comparison. Anything else would pale in comparison. The sacrifice is actually one of the things that unites you to Jesus. It's one of the things that, it's one of the ways that you're able to express your love for God and to show people the love that God has for them. Jesus was willing to die for us. Jesus was willing to endure torture. He was willing to be rejected for us. When a priest lays down his life, when a priest lives following Jesus and takes on some of those sacrifices and some of those difficulties that what it means to be a Catholic priest, he is telling people or showing people that they are worth everything, that they are worth forsaking and walking away from everything. That's how important they are to God. It's one thing to say that to people, but it's another thing to live in a way that shows that. A Catholic priest, by his sacrifices, reveals to people how important they are to God. That God would literally forsake everything. He would literally mount the cross out of love for them, and that they would be forever with him forever in heaven.